Alright, so I thought about the format of this video, and I think we're probably going to do discerning the truth from error regarding personal prophecy that God gives you last. But first, we're probably going to do indicators of who might be doing witchcraft on you based on like what you see in dreams. So first of all, I would say normally, let's say like you have a dream where like you're at work, right? And you make this like new friend at work, but at the same time there's this like other girl who's kind of liked by everyone, but like you can tell that she's probably kind of insecure and doesn't really have like a lot of like close friends, right? And so like let's say in the dream your friend's like not at work and you think, huh, that's weird, and you ask the other girl like, hey, have you seen Bethany, like whoever your friend is? And she's like, oh my gosh, no, come to think of it, like I haven't really seen her either, that's so weird. And it's basically either acting like overly like consoling towards you or like overly passive or like kind of fake. Like those are my three huge indicators that there's probably mutual witchcraft being done on both sides by one person. And like let's say you wake up from the dream and like actually go to work because you actually have this friend at work, Bethany or whatever, and Bethany is not even at work in real life, and you think that is so weird. And so this other girl, just like the dream, you ask like, hey, do you know where Bethany is? And she's like, yeah, no, she's been out because she's planning that company get together and she's just been swamped. She's been so busy. And you kind of like stop and think to yourself like, I thought that was still like a month away, and she didn't like text me and say that she was gonna take a few days off work to plan this, and like I wrote to her but she's not texting me back. That's weird. And like something just feels like off, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, like in your mind something just feels weird. But like let's say actually in reality Bethany is out of work because this girl who's like jealous of your friendship is doing witchcraft on Bethany too, and Bethany's actually like feeling really, really sick. And it's not that she didn't want to reply to your text, it's just that she's been going through a lot because of the witchcraft, And maybe she planned on telling you about like the company party, but her being sick like got in the way of that, So I'd say like things like that. Usually every time there's witchcraft being done on me and I can't like really discern like who it is, there's something about the person in the dream who's someone I know in my waking life that just acts like really suspicious. I'd say if somebody's like overly kissing up to you or like pestering you with like the same type of question over and over again, or if somebody is like trying to get your attention constantly and like bring you someplace else from like wherever you are, like to begin with, huge red flag that witchcraft's going on. If somebody tries to make you eat in a dream. And so God's confirmed me over the years like all the people that have done witchcraft on me, and some were like even before I got saved, which is crazy. But a lot of the times when witchcraft's being done on me, people will try to make me eat things that I either like to eat in real life, like pretty frequently, or things that I used to like to eat pretty frequently in real life. So It's like very based on, because demons have been watching us as humans for like thousands of years, right? And so they only know about you as far as what they can observe. So I remember like at one point I had this dream, like not even that long ago, it was only a few months ago. Somebody was doing witchcraft on me, kept trying to feed me like mozzarella and pesto sandwiches. And like in real life, I actually used to have a job. When I was like younger, I was like 18, and I worked at Barnes & Noble, and I used to love getting those from the cafe at lunch. And so like there was a pretty decent period of time where like I ate that pretty frequently, and that's what they were trying to get me to eat. There's another example of a warlock who did witchcraft on me, like I want to say this was probably like 7 or 8 years ago. It's a little while ago, but in dreams I would always be at this ice cream place that I used to go to as like a 5-year-old. And every time I went to this ice cream place, I got mint chocolate chip ice cream, because it was always my favorite as a kid. And like without fail, I'd always have these dreams that I was at this place again for my childhood, and I hadn't been there in like, at that point, like at least, I want to say 15 to 20 years. And he kept trying to get me to eat mint chocolate chip ice cream. Like very strange. Like, did you guys ever watch The Fault in Our Stars, where Hazel is making comments about the boy's funeral, right? And like she's basically expressing her disdain for people that didn't know him that well, thinking he liked basketball a lot because he always wore a basketball jersey. But like in reality, he didn't really like basketball that much. It's just that he wore a jersey a lot. It's like things like that. So demons can only really discern and like know you from what they've observed, what they know in the physical, and like basically whatever they've seen through you, or from you, through your actions since you were young. I mean, like your whole life, right? But what they don't know and how they can't relate to you is on like a spiritual level. I'd say like other red flags of people doing witchcraft on you is like, let's say for example you had a dream where you're with like a group of friends or something, and in your waking life, like as far as you know, like nobody's really suspicious or like doing witchcraft on you. But in this dream, somehow like one of your friends just goes missing, and you're like, what the heck? Like they were just like right here and like walking with me, and then like where'd they go type thing. And so you told the other person or people like, hey, maybe we should, like, have you seen like so and so? It's weird, they just kind of disappeared, like weren't they like just here? And the people were like, oh my gosh, it's such a beautiful day, like the time is short, like don't worry about it, oh my gosh, you worry so much, you know, like weird stuff like that, where people are very obviously acting intentionally clueless, intentionally oblivious, intentionally manipulative, intentionally trying to like bring you places besides wherever you happen to be in a dream. Intentionally trying to get you to eat things, intentionally like trying to plant seeds in your mind, even just by asking the same question over and over and like pestering you. You know, it would be enough to like sow like doubt really into anyone's mind, because we're all like human, so we think like, yeah, that is kind of weird that God told me I would get this promotion or whatever, and I haven't gotten it yet, but they keep asking, you know. So it's like one of those things where it like makes you doubt trust, or like the trust you have in yourself, you know what I mean? Like things like that. Which is like why I always tell people, like, whatever God's prophesied over you, like especially when it comes to ministry, like don't be telling people that, you know? I would say green flags in dreams would be if you find other people and they don't find you. Like, and I'll explain like kind of what I mean by that. If you just happen to be like minding your own business in a dream, and like, you know, I've had a lot of dreams in like places like I don't recognize necessarily, and it's more so I'm just like doing something, and like I turn around and like see someone, I'm like, oh hey. But people that like find you, like if somebody else like is the one to either come find you first, come talk to you first, like all that stuff is not great. It's usually like kind of like a pink flag to me, like not fully red, but like not the best, you know? I would say another green flag is when there's not really like any elements of like surprise necessarily, in like a bad way. And like, what do I mean by that? It's like, okay, so like imagine you were like touring this new space where you wanted to have some kind of like office for your business, your ministry, or whatever. And you know, you already kind of know like what kind of interiors you like, and just sort of like what you generally want this space to look like, or like whatever your personality is. And like the green flag in a dream would be like, oh my gosh, yeah, I forgot like how much I really like a vintage element, or it's like it'd be like something that speaks to your soul, but not really something that like comes to the top of your mind right away when you think of like what you'd like. Whereas like a red flag would be like the same idea for a dream, like you're looking, you know, for spaces to have your business, your ministry, or whatever, and you're with someone who's like really insistent, like, we need to look at this place, we need to like check it out, like I hear it's like all the rage. And then it's like you walk in and there's like bats or something, or like insects, or like snakes, or like it's really like dank and gross and dusty, or like something spooky about it. And maybe you in the dream would point it out, like, yeah, this is not what I had imagined. And they're like, oh my gosh, no, it's like a fixer-upper, like, don't worry about it. So that'd be like a negative element of surprise, right? Where the form would be more positive. It would have like amenities and things that maybe wouldn't even come to the top of your mind, but you'd be like, oh my gosh, like this is sort of like, as Angela Uchi always says, like a god wink. Like, that's so cool, you know? I would say other green flags in dreams are, no matter like if the person's like family, friend, like whatever the context of that kind of like relationship is, if it's consistently like a pretty supportive role, or the person is supporting you in some kind of way. I've even had dreams where it's like I'll be like physically really tired, and I'll like see someone that I either know or knew at one point, and they like come up to me and they're like, are you okay? You know, like stuff like that. So yeah, I'd say like green flags are people that actually have your best interests, and like you can tell that like in the dream, or it's like they acknowledge I guess your state of being, like what's important to you. Yeah, like nothing about them like throws you off. Like that's usually a green flag. Let's see. I guess we can move on now to the extracting the truth from things that God has prophesied to you either through dreams or other ways when you're under like witchcraft attacks. So if you see like numbers either in a dream, in your mind, if you feel like you heard something, and you like look up in the Strong's Concordance and it doesn't like make sense to you, even if you try to click on most of like the verse references and try to read about it and you're like, I actually don't see how this like fits into my life. If there's any numbers, for example like a 9 or a 6 or etc., that could be a different number like upside down, try typing in that way and then try reading the verse references under that number instead. Because that usually does work. Otherwise, if that doesn't work, try this. Try looking up the number above it or below it. So if you thought you heard or saw in a dream, for example, like 18, and that didn't like mean anything to you, try looking up 17, and if that doesn't mean anything to you, try looking up 19. I've even had times too where it's like the numbers order switched. So like what do I mean by that? Like, you know, 28 would be 82, 27 would be 72, things like that. So just like flip the order of the numbers. Colors. Not very often, but I do see different colors in my mind, in dreams, etc. And from my experience, they usually are indicative in some way of the 12 tribes. And so far there hasn't really been like a lot of witchcraft I've experienced as far as like the color side of things, and it's normally made sense to me. So yeah, if you like look up the 12 tribes and like kind of what colors are like ascribed or whatever, or like correlate with each tribe, it can usually explain a deeper meaning of like a location in a dream. If you feel like you just saw the color in the location, a deeper meaning behind like the character of a person, if they were wearing like all one color or you saw color around them or something. Things like that. So I really haven't experienced like a lot of witchcraft in like that direction. If you're still stuck on like the number thing, very rarely, but sometimes, there's either like a 1 or a 0 that shouldn't be there. So if you get, for example, we'll use this year, like 2024. Let's just say you happen to see 2024, whether in a dream or in your mind or something. Try like 224. You know what I mean? Or if it's 2124, try 224. Other than that, I would always recommend not to take anything you look up in the Strong's Concordance literally as far as like what word or words or phrases directly correspond to the number. Usually one of the verses that corresponds with the number, usually like the entire chapter of whichever verse corresponds will be closer to whatever answer you're looking for than just like a word. You know what I mean? Yeah, basically like, I don't know if you guys have seen like the movie Jingle All the Way, but you know how Ted the neighbor is like always trying to like hit on Liz and stuff when her husband, who's played by Arnold Schwarzenegger, is like trying to get the Turbo Man doll. And she's always like asking Ted like where he is, like where's my husband, you know? And he's always like, Liz, don't worry about it. I made cookies. Like that's how people will act if they're doing like witchcraft in your dream. Like they'll just always try to like distract you, move you somewhere else, be fake, be manipulative, be coercive, kind of be like a pest. And if they're not doing that, they'll be like overly apathetic and like kind of overly gaslighty in like kind of like a stoic way. And I don't know, maybe it's because like as of recently, I would say it's majority of women that are doing witchcraft on me, but usually women do not fall in like the apathetic category as much as warlocks do. Usually warlocks are more stoic and apathetic and like gaslighty in more of like an accusatory way, and women are like a little bit more charming. I mean, they still come across as fake even in dreams, but usually they're a little bit more charming. And it's like ironic, right? Because it's like a charm is literally like demonic. Like it's like a demonic way to describe someone, you know, charming. So I think that's about it. I'd say if like you're still confused, try cross-referencing anything that's been prophesied over you in real life by someone you trust to whatever you think you're seeing in dreams that seems like convincing. If it's truly like consistently a mismatch and you're like, that's weird, like it's just so different, especially if it's something that just kind of like came out of nowhere, you know, like a lot of the witchcraft I've been under like kind of comes out of the blue. And so like not only is it a mismatch, but it like it's just like random, you know. That's a huge indicator that there's probably witchcraft involved. Even as far as like physical ailments go, nothing should just be like randomly horrible. Like that doesn't make sense, you know. Usually there's like a gradual like build up if it's like a sincere illness. So yeah, I say like things like that. Also try to pay attention more to what is true than what is factual. And I guess like what I mean by that is like, you know how like the devil's like the accuser of the brethren? And like that's the reason why like even when we didn't know God in the past, he'll always try to like throw it back in our faces and stuff. Like that's how like witches and warlocks act towards you in dreams. Even if it's like not about you. Like let's say like in real life like somebody like hurt you or something, and then like they just kept reminding you of it in like a dream or something, you know. And so, yeah, it's like, I guess, factual, but like, it doesn't mean it's true. It doesn't mean that there isn't like more of the story, you know? So that's another thing to look out for. And I'm really, like, how you'll know is this. Like, if you're really still like, I don't know if this is a red flag or a green flag. I don't know if this person is sabotaging me or trying to support me. Somebody that isn't a red flag will be able to reference things spiritually, things that you've never spoken. And it's not even like they need to speak it. They just know. You know what I mean? Like, they just know you. Like, they know who you are. On a level where whatever it is that they know isn't backed up by, like, real life events. It's not backed up by, like, anything someone has said to you or you said to them. Isn't backed up really by anything. It's just sort of like happy, but like in a bizarre way. Like how would you know that type thing? You know, it's like there's like a familiarity, but like not in a sense that you feel like the person's stalking you type thing. And I'd say like it's more of like a red flag if whatever the person insists that they know about you is all things that can be backed up by, like, if you're on social media, like something you wrote on social media, if you're on, you know, like if you always like to shop at a certain kind of store, wear a certain kind of clothes or something, or eat a certain food or whatever, like, they'll only be able to reference things that have already, like, had a physical presence in real life. They won't be able to kind of like know you like on a deeper level than that. So I would say like, yeah, if you're really not sure, that's like probably the number one thing to ask yourself. I will also say this too. Whenever somebody's done witchcraft on me, I wasn't like aware of it yet. Every time I saw them in the spirit, it would always be like a memory of a time that I've like seen them like in real life when they were making kind of like a sinister face at me. And so like whenever I think of them randomly because they were like doing witchcraft on me, like I'd always see their like mocking little face like staring back at me. And it's interesting because like even though like God permitted like the witchcraft to happen, in a way, like looking back, like in retrospect, I can tell that like he was trying to let me know in some ways that there was a possibility it was witchcraft by the way that when I would like, I guess like see them, right? I would say like in the spirit, but it was like also like repetitive memories. Like they looked evil. Like they looked like they were mocking my very existence. Like they had no respect for me. Like they thought they were better than me. Like they thought they were like superior to me. Like they thought they could take me down. Like just weird stuff like that where you're like, what the heck? Like just like something about it that's just like, I don't know about that. And even if you just like don't really, you know, tend to have the personality that like accuses people, you still like would feel in your spirit that something's very off about it. Or like you can't put your finger on it. So yeah, I would say that's basically most of my knowledge on different indicators of witchcraft and how to discern like the truth from a lie. And also understand too that almost every type of witchcraft is designed to manifest not only in your own life, but also like as far as other opportunities go, like in a way where it's like you believe it in some instances, because it's like the promotion example I gave, right? Like somebody always being like, oh, I thought like God prophesied you'd like get a promotion or like start this business, whatever. You know it's witchcraft because like in the physical, like things could not be slower or like more, I guess, stagnant, for a lack of a better word, as far as that goes. So that's why most people are like, I think, susceptible to believing it, is because not only does witchcraft just have sort of like a seducing and like coercive quality in general, but also because the way that they are attacking like whatever it is almost makes what is true look like you were crazy for believing the truth in the first place. I don't know if that makes sense. Like, yeah, the promotion example is like the best, I think, example, like as far as that goes. So yeah, there's a lot of witches, a lot of warlocks out there. A guy was telling me the other day, like, there are some people that literally have monitoring spirits that don't even know that they do. And I was like, dang, that's crazy. So yeah, be careful out there. The devil always wants to try to fool you. And it's almost like the best analogy I can give is like, you know how people say the most car accidents happen like 5 minutes from home or less? Like, it's usually not further away from where you live than that. It's because it's like the devil knows when you're like making forward movement and whatever you're trying to do, even if it's just studying the Bible more. And so that's when he'll attack you. It's like he only like attacks you when you're getting close, you know what I mean? You're like close to the destination. He's not like trying to attack you really when you're far from it. He like wants to attack at a point where it's like, oh yeah, I'm confident, I've like done this before, you know, or it's like you have your defenses down. That's what I was trying to say. So yeah, I would say pray consistently. Be wary of people that are always trying to like talk to you, or like always trying to like warm up to you for no reason. And I'm not saying like hate everyone that's friendly. Like, I don't mean that. It's, if you have any spiritual discernment, like, you know what I mean. But yeah, I already put out the prophecy versus divination video, so if you're not sure about the difference between those, you can watch that as well. But yeah, I really hope this helps someone, and I love you guys, and I hope you have a good weekend. Bye!